Now, West Asia is changing, and it is changing rapidly. The United States of America is losing influence here. Recently, China brokered a deal between Saudi Arabia and Iran, and as a result, these two countries restored ties. Now, in the latest, it looks like Russia is brokering something of such between Syria and Saudi Arabia. We tell you more.
The West Asian order is changing gradually. Weeks after Saudi Arabia restored ties with Iran, there are now reports that the kingdom might be warming up to Syria as well. Earlier this week, Saudi state television reported that for the first time in the last 10 years, talks are underway for reopening Riyadh's embassy in Damascus. The two governments are also reportedly preparing to reopen embassies after Ramadan. Saudi Arabia, which backed the Syrian opposition in the country's war, closed its embassy in Damascus and expelled the Syrian ambassador in 2012. The Wall Street Journal reported that talks between the two parties, mediated by Russia, are going on. If the negotiations are successful, then it will mark an important step to reintegrating Syria and its leader Bashar al-Assad back into the Arab community after a brutal civil war. Saudi Arabia and Syria cut ties in 2012 after President Assad's crackdown on protesters. It was the Saudis that helped orchestrate Syria's ejection from the Arab League and allegedly funded rebels to fight the government forces for years. In the last few years, much of the Arab world has set aside rivalries that came up following the Arab Spring protests that began in 2011. The Syrian president himself has been in talks with several West Asian nations, hoping to end years of isolation. The development comes shortly after China helped broker a deal between Saudi Arabia and Iran on resuming ties. And if these talks also conclude positively, it will surely weaken the US as the decisive presence in the region, in spite of its military occupation of a third of Syria.
China welcomes the agreement reached between Syria and Saudi Arabia on reopening embassies of the two countries. Syria's return to the Arab family will be conducive to the unity and revitalization of Arab countries. I would also like to stress that China firmly supports Arab countries in strengthening their unity and cooperation.
Whereas for Russia, mediating between Saudi Arabia and Syria has bolstered Russia's influence in the region. Putin had previously intervened in the Syrian civil war, giving a big push to Assad, while he has also courted the Saudis, aligning oil-rich Russia with the Riyadh-led OPEC grouping. But for the US, it might come as a warning that while it remains the big military and diplomatic force, its influence in the region is under increasing challenge. West Asia Bureau, WION, World is One.